Hey, everybody. Welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 427 being recorded on November 30th, 2016. I'm Ryan Shrout.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrus.
And I'm Allyn Mamatana.
It's December, guys. If you're watching this not live,
You just said
it's December.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're recording it on the 11th hour. No, I guess technically
It's not the 11th hour.
it is. Yeah, we're in the 11th hour of this day,
Okay.
right?
I guess.
Because the 12th hour is from 11 to 12.
Oh.
0 to 1 is the first hour. 1 to 2 is the
Somebody's
second
not using
hour.
military time.
Yeah, you're right. That'll be the 23rd hour. You're
Yeah, they don't
correct.
use that crap in the military.
But there was a PC game called the 11th Hour, right? And I'm pretty
Yes.
sure they weren't talking about 11 a.m. to noon.
Sequel to the Seventh Guest.
So I'm pretty sure that's I'm covered here. So December's almost here, which means the year's almost over, which means I don't know.
We have to get our Christmas holiday gift guide together.
We do need to do that. We need to recommend things for people to purchase.
Ryan and I were talking earlier about how.
this year, right?
What is?
What?
Coal. We can recommend coal. I mean, it's really hot this year, and all the kids want it.
I wasn't getting the C the first couple of times.
I wasn't either. I just heard oil, and I thought he had
like
some
kinda
country
Canadian.
accent. And he was
kind of Canadian crap you got
got
going
an
on up
oil
there.
lamp.
Earl.
Oral. Warsh. So if I don't know, 2016 went by exceedingly quickly.
And crappily.
For the most part, I would agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, it was pretty crappy.
But it's not crappy in the world of hardware, so let's talk about it, I guess. First things first, we do record the show on Wednesday nights, most of the time, at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific at pcper.com/live. If you go there, you can see the embed of our live stream. There's a chat. You can talk with us. If you get there early enough, you can talk crap about me before the show starts. It's totally fine. Everybody's allowed to do that. And if you need a gentle reminder about that, say, oh, Wednesdays are really busy for you, and you're forgetful about logging into the stream, you can go to pcper.com/subscribe. You get this little page right here where we ask for your name and your email address. We'll send you a notification, an hour before, 2 hours before, whatever it was today. About the live stream. And we, like last week, it was important because we let people know in the morning that we were going to do the podcast on Tuesday night instead of Wednesday night because of the holiday. And so with all the holidays coming up in this month, as well as CES coming up, all that will be jumbled around. So if you want to know what our schedule is, you can either check the right-hand side of the website where I will attempt to have a schedule listed there. Although, to be fair, at CES, that schedule is never accurate. You just need to wait for the emails. Do that. So again, pcper.com/subscribe. Get that, fill that out, be part of that notification list, and we'll go forward with you from there. And then obviously we have our Patreon campaign continuing to run. Patreon.com/pcper.
It will have almost been a year.
It will have almost been a year because we recorded the footage at CES 2016. I don't remember exactly when we launched it. It was probably in February sometime, right?
Yeah. It's a little bit after CES.
Yeah. But it is up and running here. You can see this is your way to kind of contribute on a recurring monthly basis, anywhere from $1 to $3, $5, $10, $20, $30. If you think the content we create is useful and interesting, if you like our podcast, if you think the personalities we have are what you want to see some more of, that
If you want to
is
see me
the
in a
goal.
bikini, then that's going to cost you.
Oof, God.
If you don't want to see him in a bikini, that's even more.
Yep.
Yeah, I would pay a lot for that one. But if I pay into the Patreon, it's kind of counterproductive because all they do is take their 5% out of it. And
We did witness Josh in that tub at CES.
I did. Luckily, he was fully clothed underneath the bathrobe.
Yeah.
He told me at least.
That's what he said.
But I was thinking this year I could at least get a good wax job.
I would appreciate it. I mean, if you're going to go, let's go all out. And as always is the case, if you contribute, if you become a new patron or you increase your contribution during the show, I will read your name out during the event, like we're doing right now for Cody Boudreau, who edited their pledge from $5.99 to $10.99.
Ooh.
Slapping an extra
$10.99.
$5 a month on there, and we greatly appreciate that. Cody and anybody else that does the same, as long as my phone doesn't die we should be good to go. I guess I have other ways to get email too. Speaking of stuff you can win, we didn't talk about that yet, but we do have a contest going for a Corsair power supply. This one's pretty interesting. So it's a special edition white Corsair RM1000i power supply. So it's a 1,000-watt power supply. They're only making 100 of these power supplies.
Wow.
And it's got white paint job on it, white LEDs in the fans. The cabling is white as well. This is in celebration of their 10 years making power supply and 10 millionth sold power supply.
It's interesting how those line up.
Yeah, coincidence, I would assume. So if you go to the main page at pcper.com, scroll down a little bit, you'll see a post with a bright white Corsair power supply in it with the title "Win a White Special Edition Corsair RM1000i power supply," and we'll have one to give away. One of only 100, individually numbered. I haven't gotten these in yet. I want to see how they're numbered. Is it just like a Sharpie on the bottom, right? Yes. Or is there like some kind of plaque to commemorate it, if you will? So
inspected by number 37.
Yeah. Yeah, individually sleeved white cables as well. Only 100 PSUs will be built, giving enthusiasts a chance to own a peak. If you win this, you kind of have to buy or build an all white case and system to go with it, right? Like you've got to get the white, whatever Corsair case, because at least then you'll know the paint will match perfectly, or should, or be as close as possible. And then you get who makes
MSI crate.
Yeah, Asus has one that was a Sabertooth.
It's also a special edition, though.
That was white. Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
There's like one black cable.
Oh, is there?
In the way, there's like
that's the USB cable. That's internal. Yeah,
but still.
Okay. Yeah, it's
couldn't find some white USB cables,
That's your mod. Paint it. You'll be done.
Okay.
White graphics card, all that type of stuff, and then I don't know. I think that would be really cool. Make sure you don't get one of those cases that hides the power supply behind a shroud.
Yeah.
Right. That would kind of defeat the purpose. I guess a little bit. So thanks to Corsair for that. All right, let's get into our content for the week. First up is a video and kind of short story I did called An Upgrade Story. It sounds very dramatic.
It's like a Christmas story.
It is. Like I thought that because the first story we did was called An Upgrade. This is part 2. And I was like, this sounds like it should be something more meaningful. Like we go out into the community and find somebody who games on an awful piece of crap system. They can't afford a new one, and we buy them a new rig. Maybe we revamp the naming scheme for that. For now, what this is basically the idea that we did almost 2.5 years ago, I guess it was, where can you take an off-the-shelf OEM PC, put in an inexpensive graphics card in it, and make it a gaming PC. And these are the two machines I went to Best Buy and bought. There's an Asus M32CD model that has a Core i7 6700 processor in it, so a quad-core hyper-threaded part, and then the one on the right is a Dell Inspiron 3650 that has a Core i3 6100. The Asus, here the full specs listed right here. The Asus machine is about $749. Pretty expensive for kind of an off-the-shelf PC with no discrete graphics card. But again, you're getting a Core i7 6700 CPU, which is what, $320 or something like that?
Yeah.
$300 or so.
12 gigs of DDR4 adds up to.
Yeah, 12 gigs memory. You've got a 1 terabyte, a hybrid drive in it. So it's ones with an 8 gig SSHD in there.
Yeah.
No.
Was it 180
right?
bucks for Windows 10?
Say it again, Jeremy.
About 180 bucks for Windows 10.
Yeah. It adds up. It's a little bit pricey it's probably one of the more expensive off-the-shelf PCs you could buy at Best Buy that isn't branded a gaming PC. Only had a 350 watt power supply, and that's important. We'll talk about in a second. And then the Dell machine, Core i3 6100, 8 gigs of RAM, a standard 1 terabyte hard drive, and only a 240 watt power supply. And I do need to make that correction of this table. This is Intel HD Graphics 530 integrated graphics, not 520. My mistake there. So that's like about a $400 machine on the Dell. And the idea is, if you look at a graphics card like the newly launched GTX 1050 Ti from NVIDIA and all their partners, they're small and compact, and they also don't require any external power. You can see right here that there is no 6-pin, even though there's the headers for it, what do you call those? Solder points for it. There is no 6-pin power connector. This is completely bus powered. which means the TDP of the card is 75 watts. It's going to generally run pretty far below that. And even a system like this Dell that has a 240 watt power supply, which is kind of crazy to think about, had no problems running this graphics card. And, I went through like real quick. Actually, I like this Dell machine's installation method, the way it kind of opens up like a book.
Clamshell.
Yeah,
the whole thing just opened it like.
Take the
Well, they've
front
been doing
plate.
it.
Go ahead,
They've been
Jim.
doing that for so long. They've almost perfected it.
Yeah.
It was great.
First couple of years, it was iffy, but they've gotten much better.
Yeah, it's just designed for be the quickest swap of stuff possible.
Yeah, and like my worry would have been, oh my gosh, these cables are going to pinch or something like that, and it just didn't have any of those types of issues. And the Asus machine is a more traditional side panel kind of removal there, and so the idea was pretty simple with this. You have these systems, either it's one you already own, or you have your mom and dad say they'll buy you a $400 or $500 computer, and then what do you spend your Christmas money on? What do you kind of invest in that's going to be the cheapest way to make it a reasonable gaming machine?
Because you could actually play games on it.
Yeah. So throughout these, see these benchmarks in these games, you'll see the blue lines are Intel integrated graphics and the green lines are with the GTX 1050 Ti installed. And if you look at these numbers, there's not a small gap there.
Yeah, that's like a order of magnitude.
Yeah, you go from
There.
2,700 to 24,000. Yeah, this is a score. It's a benchmark. So
like
it's not
times
like
10.
you're not gaming in 3D Mark Skydiver necessarily. And then like something like Firestrike wouldn't even run on the Core i3-6100. It would not complete. And you're getting about 7.7x improvement on the Asus machine that has the Core i7 processor in it. So these are big differences. When you look at Dirt Rally, for example, and these, I want to say, like from the settings standpoint, I went with 1080p because that is the resolution that the majority of people's monitors are. And if you're hooking up to a TV, even like a small TV in your room, chances are they're 1080p at this point. And then I went with, on these games, modern-ish games, but not like super brand new games, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about Battlefield 1. We're not talking about Titanfall 2 or something like that. These are games that you would expect maybe some people might think, hey, integrated graphics are up to the point. I think you even said this when we were doing this, having this discussion. Like, oh, I thought integrated graphics had gotten better
thought they were
enough
better than that.
they could play these games.
Yeah.
And you look at Dirt Rally, 1080p low preset. The Core i7 was able to get over 30 frames per second, which is probably playable, kind of. But I think, Josh, you would agree for like a racing game,
It's pretty rough.
it's pretty rough to
Yeah.
play at 30 frames per second. Whereas after you install that GTX 1050 Ti, you're up at 173 frames per second.
Now you need a new display to take advantage of that.
Well, no, like I mean, so you're looking at a difference of what is that? That's like 6x or something
Yeah,
like that.
that's a big freaking
5.6x. Now, obviously, you don't really want to run Dirt Rally at 173 frames per second. What you want to do is take that extra horsepower and turn it into better image quality, right? And as I looked at it, you could actually play Dirt Rally at the ultra quality preset and still maintain 60 frames per second, right?
Yeah.
So it's a huge difference in what your experience is, both in terms of image quality and frame rate there. And then Rise of the Tomb Raider, same thing. This is the lowest preset available in the game settings, and you go from 5.6 to 95 frames per second, and 11 to 106. Again, not small differences. And the same thing in Doom, an OpenGL title, 1080p at its low preset, over 100 with a discrete card, and then like 9 and 15 with the integrated graphics. And the good thing is because these systems have small power supplies and maybe questionable capability power supplies, like I think we're past the days where power supplies are necessarily like crappy and will catch on fire and they can't support the wattage they claim.
Yeah.
Right? At least I hope we are. But even, the 240 watt power supply with the Core i3 played games with the GTX 1050 Ti with no issue. And the reason is you look at this. Like this is the Asus system running Doom, 98 watts, the whole system drew on integrated graphics. You add in the discrete card and you're up to about 145 to 150. And that's probably in the middle range of where you would expect it. Yeah. Even if it scales all the way up, if you add 75 watts to the 98 watts that we had before, you're looking at 175 watts, kind of your maximum power draw out of that machine. Well under the 350, well under the 240 watts of both rigs. And that's what's that's kind of what's important about here. Obviously, you could put a 1060, a 1070, a 1080, a Fury, an RX 480. If you're willing to invest in a power supply change, which, the Dell system probably doesn't have the form factor to hold it. The Asus might. You could put any graphics card you want on this processor, on this motherboard. It's just like, what's the easiest way to do it? And what's kind of like an inexpensive way to do it? And then this table kind of summarizes things pretty well in terms of this is your performance increase with the discrete card over the integrated card. And the lowest difference is 5.1x, the lowest change. And the highest one is 17. With the Dell machine, the Core i3 processor, Rise of the Tomb Raider is 17x faster with the 1050 Ti than
it's crazy.
The integrated graphics. And obviously, like I said, you translate that performance into higher image quality settings where necessary to kind of keep yourself in that 60 frames per second range. And what's impressive about that, and I think what makes the story compelling, is when we review a new video card, if it's 25% faster than its competition, if it's 50% faster than the previous generation at the same price point,
we're shocked.
Yeah, that's like a big deal.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, man, the 1080 is great. It's 50% faster than the 980, or it's 70% faster than the 980. Now we're talking about 510 to 1700% faster than the previous setup you had. So, and we had a video of this on YouTube, and obviously people on Twitter were talking about it, and we've had several people say, this was a great idea. Like, I went out and did this for my dad's machine over Thanksgiving, and it's amazing. Yeah. Like now we can play games.
Because the rest of the system is pretty darn good. Yeah. I mean, it's not like that you're in such a dire need of an update for that stuff right out of the box, but the graphics is definitely a thing that, on those systems, there just is none.
I mean, even like the Core i3 6100, you could go lower end on the processor and still be fine. Yeah. Right? It's going to bottleneck it a little bit in different areas, but still the primary bottleneck is on the GPU. I will say, if you plan on going out to Best Buy or Fry's, whatever, to look for machines that are like super low cost that you can then put in a card like this, be wary of systems that do not have PCI Express slots.
Yeah, that is a thing.
I made it a point to, when I went to Best Buy, I took a screwdriver with me, and the salespeople were not super excited about it. But I was like, I need to open this up and see if there's a PCI Express slot in it. And he was like, I guess that's okay.
Trust me.
And I was just like, as I was saying it, as he was, debating it, I was already unscrewing it, take the panel off and look if I couldn't look through like air vents or something. And there were several systems that just didn't have, graphic slots on there. So that would be a disappointment. So make sure you're paying attention to that. But I think, this is something like my nephew was building a system, but if my younger nephew got a computer from my mom's work, that was like a hand-me-down type computer, and I could say, okay, here's a $130 1050 Ti, or, you could use a 1050, or you could use a 460, anything that doesn't require a 6-pin power connector, and say, okay, you install this, install the driver, do what you were going to do anyway, and your experience will be significantly better. I would like to see, I bet a lot of people over Christmas go home where their dads or brothers or whoever is, they're playing games on integrated graphics, and you feel bad for them. Yeah. You should do their Christmas gift to them should be a $120 to $130 video card that solves all of those problems without like a huge expense. So I thought it was pretty interesting, and I think I say in the conclusion of this, it's really useful for me, who I'm used to dealing with. Okay, we're testing the HTC Vive. It's a $700, $800 set of hardware, right? We're using 1080s and 1070s, and then we're surrounded by 8-core 16-thread processors. Every once in a while, to kind of like when we go to QuakeCon and you see some of the systems that people are actually gaming on, and you go, oh, turns out not everybody buys a 980 Ti 1080, right? And it's important to kind of look and see what that is. I'm going to do another story with one of these systems, probably the Asus one. I know GeForce Experience has gotten a lot of flack recently for valid reasons, but I want to see like, okay, I installed this card and now I'm running 173 frames per second in Dirt Rally. Is that GFE software smart enough to like get you into the right spot? Again, talking to somebody, talking in the idea of like, okay, this is something for your dad or your brother that maybe has no experience with game settings or something like that. So could be interesting. All right, let's move on to a couple of other things real quick. We'll talk about this. Sebastian, Case Man, Peak, is that what we're going to call him? Case Man? No, wait. What was Rodney's name, Josh?
3D Game Man.
3D Game Man. Okay, so we got to think of something cool. What's a good nickname for Sebastian?
Case Man.
Case Man? That's not as cool as I was.
Just call him the Case.
Sebastian the Case Peak. Maybe. I think he's getting a nervous tick every time. Like I say, "Hey Sebastian, I'm going to send you this new case review," and he kind of like, yeah. Okay, Ryan.
One eye starts to flicker.
Send it over.
Yeah, I needed more insulation for my basement.
This is the Fractal Design Define Mini C Micro-ATX case, and it looks fairly familiar from the other Fractal Design points on this. Anybody, Jeremy? Does anything stand out to you with this chassis in terms of either features or capabilities or design or styling?
I mean, overall, you recognize it in a millisecond who made this thing.
Yeah.
And it does look similar to a lot of the other ones that they've made recently, just a wee bit smaller. It does have something that will make you very happy at the very end of the front page.
Uh-oh. Oh, wait. Okay, I'm scrolling. I'm excited now. What's that?
You see that dust filter?
Ooh, it comes out the front of the case.
It comes out the front of the case.
Somebody got smart.
They're finally paying attention, because I'm totally in agreement that it's idiotic to have to haul everything out just to get at your dust filter.
Yeah.
When all you want to do is just get it out there.
Vacuum out the dust filter.
The one on the top, magnetic. So pop her off, shake it off, pop it back on. You're laughing.
Very cool. Very cool.
Overall, it was impressive what he managed to squish in here. Because to look at the test setup, I'm trying to remember what water coolers it was he stuck in there.
Looks like some sound dampening material on the front panels and side panels as well. That's good.
Yeah,
no optical drives.
That's right off very easily.
Yeah.
There it is. He was doing the H100 GTX, and he could fit it in the front or the top. I mean, there were millimeters of clearance on the GPU that he was using, but I believe that was a 480.
Okay, so there's a picture of it on the front of the case.
Yeah, right. So as you can see, the video card is close. Yeah, it's an R9 290X double D.
Yeah, that's a long video card. That's a long video card, yeah. And then up top...
It still fits in.
Yeah.
Who cares if it's a tight fit as long as it gets in there, right? Again,
tight fit with your RAM, but it works. And for the size of this case, that's pretty damn impressive.
It's interesting. It's interesting. The cooler is actually not above. It's not. How do I say this? It's not above the motherboard. It's damn it. It's like floating. It's on the same plane as it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to.
Flush with it almost.
Yeah, I don't know how to word that. Usually, the water cooler
on the same plane
is above it, right?
Yeah,
the top of the motherboard doesn't overlap at all with the cooler. Here it does overlap a little bit. So if you had tall dims, it might be a problem.
Yes. Yeah. He did point out that his were regular size.
Yeah.
The other kind of interesting thing I thought with this is the backplate for access for the CPU, which you're looking at right now.
Good timing.
You look at the case and it's weird because instead of having just a big square cutout as you'd be used to, so you can get at the mounting hardware, there's this metal piece in front of it.
That's cool.
This is for mounting your SSDs.
Oh.
You quickly unscrew one thing, pop it out, mount up to 3 SSDs, pop it back in.
So you're not wasting space when you aren't changing out your CPU thing, which probably most people may never do.
Right.
Or may never do with the motherboard in the case.
And if you do, who cares? You unscrew the one thumb screw there and the plate with the SSDs pops out.
Yeah. It just slides out.
Let the SSDs hang to the side a little bit off their SATA cables and power cables while you do whatever work you need to do. That's a really good idea.
That's good use of the space.
I was very impressed with it because I looked at it first and going, what in the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, why are you covering up that slot, that gap? That's the whole point. Okay, that does make sense.
Smart move.
Yeah.
And overall for performance, it came sort of smack dab in the middle for the CPU temps, but the GPU temps were a little bit warmer than anything else.
Yeah.
Then again, it's shoved into a rather small thing, so it ain't going to keep up with like an Air 740 or one of the carbides. Noise levels, smack dab in the middle of the charts.
Yep.
About what you would hope when it's running at full. So it's really decent.
Where are we at on cost on this?
It's like $86, $85.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, $84.99, which is for the windowed. I think you can get a non-windowed for about $7 or $8 cheaper. So very decent price as well for what is usually a niche case you have to spend a lot of extra money on.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thanks, Jeremy. And thank you, Sebastian, for the review. Again, I'm going to scroll back up the top so I can get the name correctly. That's the Fractal Design Define Mini C.
All right.
Does it have a Type-C port on it?
Is there such a thing as a mini Type-C?
No, but it's the Define Mini. I just kind of figured that's
You think the C... It's a good question.
It's got two 3.0s on the front, but they're not
Type-C.
It's a mismarketing opportunity.
Well, no, you just have to buy a motherboard. Only the Type-C motherboards are compatible with this case. You cannot fit any other motherboard in here. Has to have a Type-C port.
That would be a bad case decision. It would be a bad case purchasing decision or design decision. All right, and also up real quick, I'll mention Lee posted a review of the XFX TS series power supply. It's been a while since we've seen an XFX power supply here on the review test bed for Lee here. So this is more of a budget line type of thing. It's a pretty small form factor design. It's not modular. You can see you got the big bundle of cables there. 550, 650, and 750 watt options. 80 plus gold. Nothing really special standing out in just the general specifications, but it did seem to perform pretty well throughout all of his testing. And we did test the 750 watt unit, of course. And prices are right, $89 for the 750 watt unit. That's a pretty good price for that. Obviously, I always wonder how many people worry about the modularity of the cables versus having it all kind of bundled up. I know we were going through this issue recently where we have too many modular power supplies and we don't know where all the cables are for them, and you're trying to build something out for a specific project.
Yeah.
But
turns out those...
I don't think most people would have that
Turns
problem.
out those SATA power cables actually have from power supply to power supply, the pins may not go to the same place,
right,
even though the plug is physically the same. Be careful. I didn't fry anything because I haven't plugged anything into it yet, but I was looking at where the wires were going, and they were clearly different places.
I think this is one of our problems that probably doesn't exist, where they don't have so many power supplies laying around that they can't keep them organized.
Yeah, but you very well might lose the cables that you set off to the side.
Yeah, we do have them all like in labeled bags. Like
now,
Ryan's actually pretty good about that.
Now, we weren't before, which is part of the problem. But it did get a gold award from Lee. Excellent voltage regulation, very good efficiency, quiet operation, single 12 volt output at 62 amps. 4 PCIe connectors, so even at for a small-ish kind of like form factor-wise power supply, you can support up to 2 graphics cards that require 2 pins on it, and it is based on the very popular and very well-known Seasonic S12G platform, and that's one of the reasons it's up there in terms of its performance and specs, as well as it is a 5-year warranty with it as well. So again, $89. Pretty hard to argue with that. And if you just need something basic, you can get the 550 watt unit for $69. So worth taking a look at. No ads this week. Anybody else? Anybody have any ads? Josh, you have any advertisements you need to plug?
Astroglide.
Right. That was a poor decision on my part, really.
You really shouldn't have left that wide open for him.
I blame myself for this. This was my fault. All right, so let's jumping from Astroglide into the news about Zen leaks. So we're getting up close to the time period where we should know more about AMD Zen's processors.
Yeah.
We don't officially, and I will tell you that I can talk all about this because AMD has said nothing to me about Zen officially.
We don't even know unofficially.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if any of this is true or accurate or not. But apparently a spreadsheet leaked out listing, what did it list? Names, prices, core counts. Did it list clock speeds as well?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're looking at
Cinebench results.
First of all, if this is true, I have no idea if this is. Do you like the idea of the Zen SR7? Is that a name for a processor? I kind of don't think they'll keep the Zen. I mean, I guess they would. They spend a lot of money designing a circle logo for Zen. Would they call it? Because Zen is an architecture.
Yeah.
You shouldn't make it the name of your processor.
Yeah.
Right.
That'd be like buying a Kaby Lake CPU.
I mean,
Like with the name being Kaby
No, it would
Lake.
be like calling it Core.
Oh,
Hey, maybe we're seeing a paradigm shift in nomenclature.
And synergy.
A Zen moment, if you will.
So maybe they just call it the AMD SR7, AMD SR5, AMD SR3.
I'm not a big fan of Special SR7 as a name, but I don't think that would be the
It's probably going to
official
have a different actual brand.
Black
I don't know. It might bring the
Because
car enthusiasts in.
that's their essentially black edition. Supposedly the rumor is the Special Zen is ones that have binned out a whole lot better, and they can go higher in clock speed when overclocking on their higher end boards.
Makes sense.
And
Got no problem with that.
so they'll probably have a different name instead of just Special Zen.
That would
Come
be
see
pretty
my
awesome.
Special Zen, huh?
I got the Special Zen.
Just for you. Same low price.
So I will say, like on the pricing source is what currency? It's in. Is it Indian?
No, that's Yuan, isn't it?
Juan.
Is it? Okay, I can't read it from this distance. But they show a quad core, a hexa-core, and an octa-core processor. So, and then they have their own version, which I think the rumor now is going to be called Z-scaling instead of hyper-threading. It's Z-scaling. Their their SMT, simultaneous multi-threading capability. So, the octa-core has 16 thread support. So I think there's two important things. One is performance, or not performance, clock speed, right? And the idea being that the special one would have a 3.2 gigahertz base and a 3.5 gigahertz boost clock speed.
Okay.
Which is interesting because if, again, all these are complete, this could all be completely wrong, guys. This is all rumors. I just want to reiterate that. But when AMD at IDF showed Zen versus Broadwell E when they were doing their IPC comparison, they were running it at 3 gigahertz.
Okay.
2.8.
I'm pretty sure
I thought it was 2.8.
I'm pretty sure it's 3, whatever it is.
Okay. Well, anyway, but they match the clocks.
Regardless, they matched the clocks between the two, trying to show that IPC, that AMD had an advantage or was equal in IPC.
Yep.
Which was fantastic news. Now, the problem is,
kind of need to match the frequency.
yeah, if you don't also match the frequency, then you're going to lose that argument. So now the debate will be what processor are they targeting against, right? And if you look at the pricing, like the quad core, there is, if you believe this spreadsheet, is going to be around the 150 range, the 6 core, the 250 range, the 8 core in the $350 range, and then
All reasonable.
and then the special 8 core would be about 500, right?
Yeah.
So it's
the
an i3, i5, i7, and then an i7
Extreme Edition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the SR7, 95 watt, 8 core, 16 thread, $350 processor would in theory go up against the Kaby Lake 7700K or the 6700K Skylake part pretty much dollar for dollar. Those are quad core 8 thread parts. This is 8 core 16 thread parts. So any threading app is going to be great.
Yeah.
Right.
Even at lower frequency.
Yeah.
Like
even if Kaby Lake comes out at 4.2 gigahertz or whatever it is, and this processor can come out at 3 to 3.2 probably for the non-special version of it. Threading wise, it should be really great. Now the question will be, where is that single threaded performance at? Where is the performance in applications that are using 2 threads or 3 threads, a lower number of threads? And I still think there's a lot of questions on whether or not that's a battle AMD is going to win with this.
So
go ahead.
Their Cinebench 15 or R15 scores on that.
Yes.
Does their composite score include single threading?
No. There's 2 scores that it gives you. It gives you a single threaded and a multi-threaded score. My guess is that they're showing the multi-threaded score. I mean, you could check by
the way it's scaling. It looks.
I mean, if you look at what is it, a 5930K?
I mean, it almost doubles from the, where'd it go?
Yeah, where did it go?
Yeah, the number almost doubles when you go from the 4-core port to the 8-core port.
So because they list scores, where's Cine?
The scores look like they're not the actual scores. Like they're just saying
they're just
like,
estimates.
Yeah, they're estimates. They got question marks after them.
Yeah, so they list here a score of 1073 for a 5930K, and that's pretty much identical to this review that shows a multi-threaded Cinebench R15 score of 1083, right? So we assume that's the multi-threaded result. So if the prices and then these benchmark numbers in this spreadsheet are accurate, then again, like I said, the multi-threaded capability will be great for those parts. I don't know. It's also like there were a couple. This is not the first set of leaks we've seen in the last month or so, and the other ones were a little bit conflicting in terms of clock speeds. Like I think the other one showed it running at higher frequencies, kind of out of the box. It's dangerous for AMD at this point for this type of information to be circulating if it is over-promising.
You mean if the rumor is
if the rumors are over-promising on what performance and cost will be.
Yeah.
And if you're AMD, you're probably a little bit nervous about that. They did announce a live stream on December 13th.
Correct.
Where they specifically call out that there's going to be information about Zen. Right?
It's coming soon. Thank you. Goodbye.
I mean, I wonder if that type of event was planned, or if they're getting out ahead of it before CES to kind of
because of
maybe
stuff like
help
this.
balance some of this type of stuff out. I don't know.
Or maybe kind of cut some of their potential losses by getting some of the people in the crowd who would probably buy an Intel this holiday season and say, hey, by the way, before you start spending your hard-earned dosh.
Yeah. Right. Yes, because we assume Kaby Lake launches at CES. I don't know when it's going to be available. Then, yes, if you're AMD, much like was the case when they were doing RX 480 kind of build-up, Polaris build-up, your whole goal at that point is to prevent people from buying your competitor's product. Just wait. Please wait. Wait until we have our product available and we can make the case for us. And then you get to make a decision on A versus B. But you don't want them to buy A before B's even on the shelf, right? And so that may be what part of the stream on the 13th is. And it may be kind of damage control on leaks and rumors and speculation. So I don't know. They may come out and give you, here's all, they're going to do a launch. They're going to talk about all the specs and prices. And then it's going to be available January 15th or something. That would be amazing. I don't know if that'll be the case. I kind of doubt it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think the latest rumor had it that their low end 4-core 8 was really quite similar in performance that they're saying to the 6700K.
Okay.
And so that kind of gives you a baseline. I mean, if that's going to be the case, that's an awesome deal. You're going to have a great gaming CPU and thread that, a $300 Intel product's going to give you.
And that's the thing. AMD doesn't have to win. They just need to be competitive. There are a ton of people out there that are just looking for another processor to buy. It could be that they're big AMD fans and they're tired of buying Intel processors. It could be that they want to support the little guy. It could be that
they've been running on an 8350 for 4 years.
You mean a 1080T?
Or the 1080 or 1100T. Yeah.
Athlon X6. That was the way to go.
No, that was the Phenom 2.
Oh, my bad.
No, yeah, Phenom 2 X6.
AMD 64. It makes games better.
It did back in 2004.
It did. AMD 64 improves image quality of games. I'll never forget that.
Okay, Far Cry.
I'll never forget that. Oh man, I hated that. Anyway, speaking of processor leaks, we'll move on to the next story. Kaby Lake this time. There it is. Scott posted this up. It is a kind of a short news post coverage of an article over at Tom's Hardware where they got a hold of a Core i7 7700K. It's got all the markings on it that you would expect to see.
Not even engineering sample.
It doesn't well, and in the 6700Ks we got in for testing were never labeled engineering sample either. So it might just be something they were changing. It is a 4-core, 8-thread, 4.2 gigahertz base clock, 4.5 gigahertz boost clock.
It's pretty good.
Processor. They use a Z170 chipset motherboard, which we've talked about all the UEFI BIOS releases that are updating motherboards to support Kaby Lake already, so we knew that was going to be the case.
Yep.
And they were able to clock the CPU up to 4.8 gigahertz overclocking-wise, which is not great. And all indications that I'm hearing from other people is that is low.
Yeah, and there were
result.
some issues with the base clock on their. I think their board is not a very good overclocker. The board they
used it on.
Yeah.
Okay. The sample had retail branding, and you can go through and look through some of the benchmarks. They are exactly where you expect them to be. Kaby Lake from Skylake has 0 IPC improvements.
Yep.
There is no instruction per clock improvement.
Yep.
If you're running both these processors at 4 gigahertz, they're going to run identically and benchmarks.
No extra cache, none of that.
The only thing that changes are stuff that we talked about last week when I went over the mobile testing, which is like HEVC 10-bit decode encode.
HDR decoding.
That type of stuff, which is still important to have. You would still want to have offloading of that on your desktop. That's a great feature to have.
Yep.
VP9 decode, that's all great. But for just general performance, whether it be gaming, whether it be
it's not
rendering, it's not going to be faster. It's just going to be clock speed faster. So what is the 6700K? Is it 3.5 to 4? Is that its clock speeds?
I think so.
I think that's what it is.
It might hit 4.2
3.4 to 3.8 maybe even.
It might hit 4.2 on the boost on some of the models.
No, it's
4.2.
It's 4.0 to 4.2.
Yeah.
So this is 4.2 to 4.5.
Yep.
So there you go. There's your performance.
That is a
delta
performance
that you should
increase.
see.
Like that will give you an increase. But
300 or 400 megahertz.
But you can get those other CPUs to 4.5. Like
correct.
It's not a difficult overclock.
Correct. Yeah.
So we still don't know. It's only one data point.
Correct. One processor. It's an early processor, I would assume.
It seems
that probably came from a motherboard vendor.
If they can only get that much more out of it, that seems like I don't see Intel shipping a CPU with that thin of a margin.
Only being able to overclock to 4.8?
Yeah, because they typically will be more conservative on their margins, which would result in you having more overclocking headroom.
Yeah, I don't know, right? So the 14 nanometer plus process technology, which again we talked about last week in the Kaby Lake notebook performance story I did.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're tweaking it, but what are they tweaking it for? Are they tweaking it for the low power side or the high power side? They're able to get 400 megahertz more on the notebook frequency side, and it looks like they're going to get about 200 to 300 megahertz on the desktop side. Is that because the process was tweaked more for the low end than the high end? I don't know. I mean, Josh, that's probably something they would be doing, right?
Yes.
Good. Riveting analysis there.
I know. It's not entirely clear what Intel is doing with their second gen 14 nanometer. I mean, they've talked about increasing. I kind of wonder if they're not doing a little bit what AMD had and probably Intel has been doing in the background, and that they probably optimize the process for the batches that they're doing. So, hey, we're going to do a bunch of mobile things, and so we're going to kind of cut down a little bit more on the leakage. We're not going to have as much clock speed headroom. Hey, here are some desktop parts. We didn't do great in scaling in the first generation, but we can add some tricks and other things here that we can get. Even though it's going to consume more power, you're going to get more clock speed headroom. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. And that seems like the reasonable direction. We'll see very soon. I don't think nobody expected Kaby Lake to be this dramatic performance shift on the desktop side. So this kind of confirms it, I guess, a little bit. It's still annoying. Tom's Hardware does this every time, don't they?
They somehow get a hold of stuff.
Every time. Every time.
Dirty, rotten rat.
It's usually from vendors.
Oh, I know. Intel's not sending them these processors. It's motherboard guys 99% of the time. So look who has the first motherboard review up on the Z270 chipset from Tom's Hardware. See what the first glowing motherboard review is on the Z270 chipset, and that will probably be a reasonable guess about what vendor got the favor for that. All right, a couple of other news stories. Not a whole lot this week. Jeremy, I like this. Check out the twins. You like that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, hot swappable even.
You can just pull one.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, or both if you want.
So this is
But you'll have to go down then.
a standard ATX form factor, right?
It is indeed.
Okay.
It's not even any longer than normal. They've managed to squeeze these two 500 watt, 80 plus gold redundant power supplies into an ATX.
That's really damn impressive. It's even smaller.
It really is.
It's even smaller than that form factor because they needed to leave extra room for the bezel that kind of surrounds the back of the power ATX power supply on most cases.
Well, the logic
Because you
is
got to have the wire header in the back part that they both plug into.
Yep.
So
because you've got to be able to do failover, which these do.
do you get 500 watts only out of it when they're both running, or can you get 1,000 watts out of it?
I think they're
when
each
they're both running?
500s.
I know they're each 500.
You're only going to get 500. It's
Okay.
it's like a dual, any kind of dual backup
RAID one.
power supply. You're not going to get double. You're not going to say, "Hey, this is 1,000 watt." No, it's going to be 500.
I didn't know if that would be possible. Like you could run it 1,000, and if one of them fails,
Wait,
It
do
would
they do
drop.
I'm sure your
another?
computer would love that.
Is there another model
if you're running if you're running full load at the time, yes, but
Oh, there's another model that goes 700, right?
Yes.
Am I reading that correctly?
so there's a 700.
Yes, this is the lower power one. There's also a $700 one. Or a 700 watt one, which is $500.
Close enough.
This one's $400.
That's pretty steep.
It is steep.
It is.
It's server level stuff though.
How loud do you think those are?
That's a good question.
Those are some small power.
At 500 watts and that efficient?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Who was it?
I guess the fan could be in the enclosure, really.
It's in the
there'd be a fan in each of the units.
Is there one in each unit? Okay.
And it's probably
Here's the enclosure, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
it's probably like 40 millimeter. Yeah, probably.
40 millimeter fans have gotten better.
Yeah.
Dual ball bearing fan, 40 mil.
Needs ball bearing when it's spinning 300,000 RPM.
Well, because they've borrowed from the server room and everything in the buddy server room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those are always really
Female
quiet.
fans.
I mean, they're probably throttled for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, does anybody want to put this in their system?
I would put that in
I
a
mean, if
system.
you're on like a file server or something, it might be worth it. For
Yeah.
I mean, the premium, isn't too bad.
The 700 watts for $500.
The thing you have to realize is most of
I'd
the
probably get the 500 at that point.
but most of the reason that you use something with redundant power supplies is not so much the power supplies failing as the power source going down. So like we had two separate power feeds.
So you would have each power supply hooked into a different circuit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you'll have your backup power and that will go to the right side of every unit in a chassis, right? Or in a rack. I mean, it does protect you from a power supply failure, but like any home user, they're going to have both of those just plugged into the same
Do these
power
switch
strip.
over quick enough that your system doesn't?
It's instant. They're both in parallel all the time.
Oh, okay.
Zero downtime.
If one drops out, the other one just picks up
So
the
are you
extra load.
operating both of these at matched capacity the whole time?
No, they would both be like throttled or just like,
Okay, so if you're using 200 watts, each of them is supplying about 100.
Yeah.
But as soon as one of them would die, it's going to draw the rest from. Okay. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
most likely that's how it's set up. Just
I
regular
gotcha.
like load balancing. Yeah.
And
gotcha.
it comes with some nice SFP Guardian software, which will track a lot of the power draw, the efficiency over a 30-day period. So it's also, if you're sort of curious what your power looks like, this is going to tell you.
Dozen SATA connectors. There's your file server.
Usually power looks like a really nasty blue arc that's bright, makes a loud sound, and hurts.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's bad. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
This is
I
the
don't need
software.
no
version.
software to tell me that.
I've actually had a blue fireball come out the back of a PC power supply once.
That's not good.
That's because I kept using it after my water cooling leaked all over it.
That's stupid.
Yeah, that'll happen.
All right, next story. Rumor is Microsoft is working on x86 emulation for ARM 64 Didn't we see this already? Like, isn't this a thing that already happened?
Like, what, red something?
I love the
Red
image
project.
that he has in there. Media Center's still dead, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just adding insult to injury.
What it's been ported.
Did someone port it to Windows 10?
No.
Someone
this
ported
is-
it, and it completely works now with the DRM included, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Media
But
Center.
what this is doing
Yeah. Please tell
is
me.
instead of having to do UWP crap, which is what we had before. So if it was Universal Windows Platform, you could run it on ARM if
Okay.
you were stupid enough to buy the cheap Surface. This is going to be native support. You will be able to run full Windows apps, no issues whatsoever. You're not dicking around with Windows RT. It's proper Windows. And they've sort of done this before with Windows on Windows when they went from x86 to x64.
Yeah, so they're
was
just
Essentially
virtualizing.
an emulator.
Yeah, they're virtualizing the whole layer.
And so they're going to be doing it, but for ARM. It's still sort of a rumor level, but honestly, you look at it, you read through how many people are talking about how much work's gone into it. We're going to see it.
Is this for server level stuff, or is this consumer level?
Everything.
Or Windows Phone with an x86 processor because you like really warm ear, maybe?
I mean, Intel backed out of x86 for phones.
Yeah.
Microsoft pretty much backed out of phones.
Microsoft pretty much backed out of phones. This has got to be like, are they worried about Chromebook taking over some of the low cost ARM based
that's what
devices?
they're looking at.
A lot of Chromebooks are Intel though.
Yeah, and they're Intel
but
Chromebooks.
Microsoft as really what Surface started out as was sort of a little promo thing to say, hey, we could do it. And
Windows RT.
I honestly thought it was going to die. I was wrong. It's turned into a huge market. Intel's got to be looking at it and going, shit, yo, we could do that.
Intel's in all of the Surfaces.
Yeah, Intel's on all the Surfaces now.
Also true.
But I mean, it's got to be like,
I guess like tablets maybe. Like you want a tablet that
That's what I'm
normally run
thinking.
Android to run full Windows for some reason.
I mean, the idea of running full Windows makes total sense to me, regardless of the device, right? Because I think, like Android, as you know from using the Lenovo book, Android as a productivity platform still has a lot of growth to do. I'm saying it more politely than you. Has some growth vectors to address.
And as Scott keeps hoping, it could also lead to a set-top box, and we do get some sort of Windows Media Center back again. It would be nice. I kind of miss it.
Yeah,
it was handy.
we'll see. Oh, well.
And every once in a while, Microsoft sort of mumbles, "Yeah, we're going to do phones again." Yeah.
Hey, did you guys know Samsung?
These guys over here.
Did you guys know Samsung had a PC business?
Yeah.
Yeah, they make laptops.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a Samsung device in a long time.
They make pretty nice laptops that don't usually come with Samsung SSDs installed.
That seems dumb.
It does.
Yeah, they got the Samsung section at the Best Buy. Their Ultrabooks are actually pretty nice.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen their. I would have said that they didn't sell them in the U.S.
No,
That's wrong.
Oh, they
sell
do.
them. Yeah, they sell them.
Yeah,
Yes.
like their laptops are actually like pretty well constructed.
Do they do any
decent
desktop
things.
side stuff? I
Um,
don't know.
Probably
Yeah, like those
Nice.
all-in-ones, with the big Samsung screen that's got the low power Intel in the back,
So the rumor going around is that Samsung is in talks with Lenovo for Lenovo to buy the PC division of Samsung. Samsung denies said rumors. Lenovo just wants to buy up
It just doesn't seem
If
like
you're selling, Lenovo's buying.
yeah. ThinkPad
Samsung is not
the
a
thing.
company to sell their stuff off, right?
It depends. It just
What's it called,
are they
IBM
making money
one?
or how much money are they losing on their PC division?
Yeah.
And I would also question what does Lenovo get out of it? Samsung can't have very big market share.
No, I don't see
the
what
PC
I don't see
world.
what they would get out of it, really.
Discounts on SSD or other sort of part purchasing.
But no, that's the thing. If it's their laptop division, it's just like
It's true. It's separate.
even Samsung's laptop division doesn't get discounts from Samsung's SSD. Like
Biohazard says that the Samsung does make Chromebooks as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they actually make a lot of the good Chromebooks.
Would
I can't
Samsung
imagine
sell the
what
Galaxy
patents
line?
they have, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like some sort of a
really
design
understand
pattern on a shell, a hinge, a something?
The only reason that makes sense to me is that Samsung just doesn't want to be in that business. Like IBM didn't want to be in that business anymore.
Scott
so they
said-
sold ThinkPad to Lenovo.
Scott said Samsung just sold their printer division, which I didn't know they had. Oh yeah, they did have printer division to HP. So I guess they are selling stuff.
I mean, it sounds like to me that would indicate then that they just kind of don't want to be in that consumer PC space.
yeah. I mean, I'd imagine they're
I
making.
mean, you didn't know they were in it, so
I mean, the
Correct.
income, the income from their SSD thing just probably dwarfing all the other computer-related stuff.
Well, I
from
mean,
them right now.
computer
so-
related maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Not
they're
TVs
just
or
a
something like
huge
that, but-
entity, right? And
Yeah.
so their laptop Chromebook sales have to be this minute portion of it. So
Maybe they just need a bunch of quick and easy cash to pay for some certain heat-related incidents.
yeah, they need to pay for some recalls.
Yeah, shipping a washing machine and a dryer isn't cheap.
True. So I liked this story a lot, Jeremy. You wrote about a handcrafted 15-meter die size processor, not nanometer, not millimeter.
This is amazing.
The 15-meter. What am I looking at? The mega processor.
Yes, that is exactly what you're looking at.
What
This was the work of a computer scientist who wanted to blow up a computer to the point where you can walk through and visualize data running through it, a program running through it.
Everything has like sci-fi style LEDs connected to it.
Yeah.
Like so you can actually watch the processing happen. But instead of the fake sci-fi LEDs that just randomly blink, this is the actual bits.
The
this
actual-
bloody thing.
Yeah. Like you're actually
I mean-
watching the bits go through the ALU and stuff like that. Yeah.
So the transistor counts are 15,300 on the core, not billions.
Okay.
15,000.
Yeah.
And the memory 27,000, but those are also those counts include the LEDs because they've got 1-for-1 on the LEDs because, as Al says, it's showing the actual ones and zeros
see
wandering
everything.
through there.
Yeah.
So it's a 42,000 transistor total
Yeah.
CPU weighing half a ton. All right. What kind of compute can it do?
It runs about 25 kilohertz.
Yeah.
So it's faster than me.
It's got 256 bytes of RAM and ROM. It's based on the old Turing design.
Huh. It's at the Center for Computer History in Cambridge.
So you can visit it.
I
That makes
have
sense
been to
that it's
Cambridge.
Turing related.
Wait. I've been to that Computer History Museum.
I bet you have.
That
It's
wasn't
like
there at
the
the time.
computer museum,
Yeah.
Oh, it's the instruction set.
primary one.
That's pretty cool.
And the website actually gives you the assembly code to write programs for it. So not only can you go and watch a random program running through it, you can write your own damn program, submit it, and see it run through it.
Somebody give me a benchmark.
We're gonna
thing is
bench
just-
3D mark that thing.
can I run that program over the internet on it?
I want to. I want the Cinebench R15 score for this processor.
.0000.
Do you have 5 years?
DN.
Maybe we could estimate based on one section of the render, and then estimate a score based on that.
25 kilohertz. My Commodore 64 was 1 megahertz.
Yes.
And this is 25 kilohertz.
This is 25 kilohertz.
Oh,
Now you really have a perspective of the speed
Oh, yeah.
of this thing.
Oh, no, but you also want to be able to watch it go through. And
Oh,
if
sure.
it's doing a megahertz, it's going to be kind of hard to track.
Actually, 25 kilohertz is still going to be hard to
So
follow,
fast.
your stuff going through it. Because you're trying to watch the math happen, so it's like, I bet you it has
downclock it?
I bet you it has a stepper.
oh, where you can pause it. and have
I
it step
bet you
through
can. I bet you
function?
can actually
Yeah.
hit the clock manually on it if you
there
wanted
is.
to. Yeah.
And as much as, I'm impressed by what people have done in Minecraft, like working hard drives, working RAM, working x86
This is real.
processor.
This is a real Minecraft
It's
recreation.
So what's he using as the interconnect? Is it just wire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just using
Wire
normal
with-
copper I went to Best Buy, I bought
They're
some
ribbon
speaker
cables.
wire.
It's got just a bunch of ribbon cables between each section.
It's not just ribbon cables.
They look like
it's
IDE
actually
cables.
got wire with metal teeth punched through it. If you read through it,
Oh.
as always, one of the most amusing parts of this is the fails. The stuff that went wrong. The teeth that sort of punched through an extra wire and caused a short. The dry solder joints that didn't quite keep. The solder joints that had a little bit too much solder on it. The vacuum cleaner that ESD'd and killed a bunch of it.
I mean, this is the
like
kind
the
of stuff.
division, the arithmetic and logic unit, the ALU. Here's an ALU.
Yeah.
Here's your special purpose registers, I/O decoding, state machine, and what does it say? Status flags, and then your general purpose registers. And then I guess this one over here is all memory.
There's your memory.
Yeah.
There's your memory.
Yeah, that's awesome. And he said in here, and as you put in the story, that he built it to, or no, this was a quote, that they built it to show the public how computers work. And this is perfect for that. The idea of trying to understand a 5 billion transistor processor, this is something they have to teach when you go to school for EE, right? Like you don't start with the 5 billion transistor GPU.
No,
You say, this is how you make a processor. Move on.
The school should start with something like this after a few hours of coursework. Like,
Right.
this thing
And
should
then
be there.
and walk you through the stepper of how that works.
I mean, this should actually be there. You know, like
I'd like to see them like a software emulation of this that you could watch occur, right? Get a 4 gigahertz processor to do a software emulation of a 25 kilohertz processor, so you can watch the lights move virtually.
I think that exists.
Yeah,
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, it's called Minecraft.
True. It is called Minecraft.
I've seen people build. We've seen the calculators that people have built.
Oh no, they've gone as far as like a working x86 processor.
In Minecraft?
In Minecraft,
you walk in, you
it's
hit
huge.
a lever, and
yeah, that's a thing.
oh, it's insane.
Where everything's lit up and you can see like buses built out of Minecraft blocks and crap like that.
I need to get more free time, clearly.
Yeah.
All right, that's pretty cool. That is the what do they call it? The mega processor.
Yes.
All right. So check out the story on PCPro.com. It'll be in the show notes, guys, if you want to check it out. All right. We're time to get to our hardware software picks of the week. I have 2 this week that I'm going to steal with. Both of them are streaming media based. Today, DirecTV announced DirecTV Now, which is a competitor to Sling TV, essentially. It is a streaming only TV service with both live and on-demand video. And they have a pretty good collection of channels. The special they're running with launch is for $35 a month. You get 120 channels, Ken? 100 channels?
Yeah, 100 plus, I think.
100 plus is what they marketed
Is this,
at.
you're not even a DirecTV customer?
You're not a DirecTV customer at all.
Okay, so you're just
It's
Joe
just
Schmo
this-
off the street, cord cutter guy.
You got to have internet. They don't care who it's from.
Okay.
This is what you buy. And then it's $5 a month to add on HBO to that, which is cheaper than HBO Now by itself.
Which is $15 a month.
$15 a month.
Yeah.
And I signed up for
do
it.
you get locals?
You do. So that's the only thing that irks me is you do not get locals.
Okay.
You get ABC and CBS and Fox, but not NBC.
You get the generic
on demands.
Yeah.
You get the on demand, so you can watch it the next day type of stuff through it.
Oh,
You only get locals if like ABC owns
That
your market.
affiliate.
Like if you live in New York or LA.
Oh, okay.
Right. Cincinnati is not one of those markets. It's only like 25 markets in the whole country that are listed that way. Yeah. Now, the alternative, as Kim pointed out to me and other people on Twitter pointed out, is you get rapid ears, you get antenna, you get OTA. The problem is you have to change inputs. You now have a different interface, right? It's not part of the guide. It's
your interface is the TV remote.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So wait. So how are you?
So you interact with this. How do you use DirecTV Now? It's through your web browser or through an Apple TV, a Fire TV, a Fire Stick, a Chromecast, which is supported by Android today and iOS.
And they're trying to roll
12.17.
the app out to other like smart TVs, I guess, and stuff like that.
They haven't mentioned
Probably.
smart TVs specifically. They have a deal where if you prepay 1 month, so $35,
So extra $35.
you get a Fire TV stick for free.
Oh, okay.
If you prepay 3 months, $120. No, I'm sorry, 105.
Yeah.
If it's 120 because I had HBO on mine, you get an Apple TV for free.
Which version of the Apple TV?
The new one, the 4th gen. So it's actually a deal because you're getting
that's a real deal
It's
for that.
$150 for the Apple TV.
Yeah.
So for $120, which is what I did, I signed up for 3 months with HBO for $120, and they're going to send me an Apple TV.
Cool.
I already have a Fire TV at my house, and I went home for dinner, installed the app, and ran it, and it works fine.
I'll have to check my.
The image quality is actually pretty good. I'm going to be honest with you. my TV service image quality kind of sucks.
Your regular DirecTV?
No, I don't have DirecTV.
Oh, yeah,
I
you don't have
have
that anymore.
ThinOptics, so it's low bit. It's like 8 megabit video stream, and this might be exceeding that. I guess I could just look on my router and see. So it seems pretty good. Now, the experience is different between apps. Like on the Fire TV, you can't watch TV while you browse through the guide. On your phone, you can. On the web browser, you can.
I wonder. So with Fire TV, they have to count for the Fire Stick, which is a lower power.
Might be an issue with
that might be
compute
the
capability
limitation.
on it. Yeah,
I bet on the Apple TV you can.
Yeah, it might
Apple
be.
TV should be able to. I wonder if that app is on the older version of the Apple TVs, like that other people
You just have
will
to.
probably have.
It doesn't list a hardware revision as a requirement. It lists a software version as a requirement. So if the third gen could support whatever version they require, then you can do it.
They also say it's coming to Roku and TV apps.
To smart TVs.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, it's pretty cool, and I think one of the benefits to this, if you're an AT&T customer, is your wireless data not. This doesn't go against your wireless data.
There really isn't.
I think.
Oh, wireless. Okay.
Yeah, like your LTE data.
That's pretty good.
I don't know if that's the case. I would assume that'd be the case. Part of the DirecTV AT&T.
Yeah, it is the case. It's not good because it's violating net neutrality.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Yeah, I mean,
get it,
that's a debate for a different time. They're not charging me more as a Verizon customer, but they're giving it to you cheaper.
Yeah, but if
as
you're an AT&T customer who wants to use Sling TV instead of paying AT&T more money,
it uses your data.
Getting more screwed.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's true.
But you're subject to the same limit that you are for everything else other than.
It's pretty cool. Like I said, 100 plus channels, and they're not like all weird channels you've never heard of, and the idea of getting live, except for the locals, is good. It's the locals that keep me from like canceling my TV service completely, because I would be able, like, I don't have any problem switching to OTA, but like when my mom comes over to babysit my daughter, do I want to explain to her, if you want to watch A&E or DIY network, switch it to this, and then use this Fire TV remote. But when you want to watch NBC, switch it over to this input and use this remote. You'd
have to creatively program your Harmony.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's DirecTV Now. And it's so weird because there's an AT&T logo inside the O for the Now.
Yeah.
It just weirds me out. And then also new, Netflix enabled offline downloading. Is that the right way to say it? Downloading
Offline
videos
viewing.
to your device for offline viewing. Yes,
Yeah.
there you go.
For some shows.
Which is something I've always wanted. It's not for all shows. It's not just their content, though. It's other content, so it seems like they're just kind of slowly working that in. I imagine there'll be some that will never allow it. But like, I've never watched House of Cards before. And so once I finish The Wire, all 5 seasons of The Wire, which I was downloading on my Amazon
It's gonna take a while.
device, I'll go through House of Cards because I can now download it to my tablet and take it with me on flights, that type of thing. So pretty cool, something people have been asking for a long time, and I'm glad it's there.
Cord cutting is becoming more of a thing. Although
It is.
You're still like paying DirecTV.
Yeah.
It's just
And you
the
still
people
pay
you were getting
correct,
away from. But,
correct, and you're still paying for internet, right? So it's like, but you're always paying for internet. It's one of the, like for me, here's my debate, right? I have Cincinnati Bell, I have phone, TV, internet, all through the same people. It's bundled, so it's less expensive than buying them all individually. If I cancel my TV service, how much does my internet go up? That's what I have to think about, right? And if I cancel my home phone line, now I'm only internet. Now where does my rate go up to?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, now you got how much, and now I'm adding 35 on top of that for this DirecTV Now type of thing. Now, it turns out I'm at the exact same amount I was at before, right? These guys are thinking about that. They're not going to just give away money. So it's just about balancing it. If you have if you have a neighbor with good Wi-Fi and you just steal it, that's the best deal. It's the best deal. Just don't use their 1 terabyte of bandwidth cap if you're on Comcast. All right. Sorry, Jeremy, what do you got?
Well, since you spent all this time talking about things that won't be available in Canada for years, if ever,
Sorry, Canada.
and our over-the-air digital transmission barely exists, our over-the-air analog transmission was legislated out a couple of years ago. Yeah, I'd love to cut the cord, but I wouldn't even be able to get local, let alone good Netflix.
Canada. Loft apartment over a really great
something
party.
you are allowed to have in Canada, which is probably subversive, and you should go for it. The Humble Bundle for books this time is freaking amazing. If you've got a cousin, a son, a daughter, someone in the family that's kind of young, and you want to corrupt them and get them into STEM, for $15, you can get an obnoxious amount of projects for them to play
DIY
with.
satellite platforms.
Yes.
Seems reasonable.
Wow.
You can. There are balloons that'll launch it up into a slowly degrading orbit. You ain't gonna hit geosynchronous or geostationary, but
Comms and
They'll have
control and instruments for amateur space. That's awesome.
like this is
Surviving
the kind of shit I wish we
orbit.
had when we were kids, because we were allowed to play with this stuff when we were kids. And like, hey, fun with propane. It's good for every child.
Here's one called Make Fire.
Yeah, that's fun with propane.
Hey, Ken, if you pay $8 more, you unlock environmental monitoring with Arduino.
I don't care about the environment.
So you can see how much damage you've done to the environment
Yeah,
with your
yeah,
launch.
that's why.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
But
To make sure
like,
you're-
a lot of this
Yeah.
has some really good basics and sort of read through it to understand what you're trying to do. But the vast majority of it is project based.
Illustrated
So
Guide to
you're-
Home Biology Experiments.
Yeah. Here's your parts list. Here's the way to put it together. Or here's your
Back in
plants.
my day, they
back-
used to call that something else.
Back in my day, the chemistry sets were actually hazardous.
Yeah, and these guys actually do sell some of the more hazardous kits again.
Sweet.
They found certain ways to find niche markets where you are allowed to
eBay,
now,
divide up your ingredients per order.
Yes.
That's how I bought
seen
stuff
the
to make
chemistry
thermite.
sets.
Thermite, yeah.
Yeah.
But the
This
chemistry
book
sets for
found on the
kids
bookshelf
nowadays-
of Jeffrey Dahmer.
No, there isn't
Oh, man,
any knife
no.
sharpening or cooking in this one whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought the biology experiments might have been, but
Well, maybe on towards the advanced part in the latter half.
okay.
But hey, it's dirt cheap. It's $15 to get everything. They're all ebooks, and so yeah, if you've got a kid, a young teenager, you're trying to convince, hey, being a geek is kind of fun,
Yeah.
and this is why.
Very cool. I like it. Get my daughter just a little bit older, so she can actually
Yeah.
read. And there you go.
Well, I got something for her too. If I can't find something next week, I think I picked it before, but I'll pick it again.
All right. Josh, you
Me.
are up next.
Sandboxie.
Okay.
So,
I've heard of that.
and if you're going to try to sandbox something you're not entirely sure about, that you don't want it to really affect your operating system, you can utilize this instead of, having to create a VM, or, if you're just using Windows 10 and,
So when
wanting
I was
to do some
looking-
testing.
When I was looking at wheelchair prices for my dad, and I did not want that wheelchair company to send me an email 8 minutes later.
So you could have
Should've used
installed
that.
Sandboxie
Uh-huh.
and then installed Chrome in there, and then gone to that place, and it wouldn't have gotten any of your information.
It's kind of like an API filter.
That's what this
Sorta.
is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a full VM, but it just gives you a pseudo layer of kind of like Windows on Windows
Okay.
stuff.
How much is it?
I think that
It's free for
it's free
non-commercial.
for
I
a
think.
lot of home use, and then it's inexpensive for
$20 a year, it says.
yeah.
And is it quick to fire it up?
It's just like
Yeah.
it's like an app. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Lifetime license for 3 computers is $49.95. There you go.
I thought there was a free version.
I'll see a free version.
Huh.
Nope, don't see it.
Oh,
If you do not agree to these terms, you may continue to use Sandboxie free of charge as long as you're not in violation of any of the conditions of the end user agreement.
I think it's just like business use, basically.
I don't understand what that means.
It means you get a nag screen saying, "We'd like you to give us money."
But there's no place to download it. It's just-
because some of the demographic that is a person that uses that kind of thing is also a person that doesn't want to submit their personal information to any company at all, including
Can I mail
Sandboxie.
you non-sequential bills in an unmarked envelope to an undisclosed
please send me a
location?
3.5-inch floppy set back.
But don't send it to this address. Send it to this PO box.
PO box.
Yeah, which I will check and in different clothing every day, every other day.
I will carve portions of a blockchain into wood and mail them.
All right, Alan, what do you got?
So I'm old. And I know like probably like a year ago or something I made my pick, these ThinOptics, the little reading glass things you throw on every so often.
Yeah, your old person glasses. I got it.
Yeah, old person glasses.
Shut up.
But the problem is that they have a case that those slide into. They kind of fold, and then they slide into this real thin case. It's supposed to be like a wallet.
Did you steal those from somebody at CES?
Well, they were handing them out. But,
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay. I was making sure.
But then I bought 2 more pairs.
Sure.
So, now they make them in a, it's the same, the glasses are the same exact way, but they just fold differently, and it's a key fob.
Look at that guy. First of all, that set of keys is not actually on that desk.
Yeah.
And those glasses are not on his face.
That's totally photoshopped.
Neither on this guy's face. So they fold up inside this thing that's like
they kind of do like an overlap fold thing. But but the piece of metal that connects both sides, like both halves of the glasses, is
switch glasses.
Yeah,
You messing with me, Vato?
yeah.
Let me get a better look at you. Let me try to remember your face.
I can't tell if you're messing with me or not. I can't see.
How come every time they take them out of them, they're incredibly dirty?
Crusty.
Because the dude's like
Realism.
fingerprints all over it and crap like that. I guess I don't know.
Look at that. Come on, dude. See how dusty those
Well,
are?
he grabs it with his
20th take.
Yeah, probably.
Those were clean. That's dusty as hell.
It's
man.
the same footage over and over again.
I know. That's true.
Yeah, it's true. Not photoshopped.
I mean, it's a
Not
pretty.
that type.
It's a pretty cool idea.
It's just if you're now the kid obviously didn't need any freaking. See, that's the regular case,
Okay. Yeah.
right? Which they say you can like.
glasses, kid.
Oh, replacements forever.
That's true. Yeah. So if they break on you, they'll just like.
Let's try it. Let me see your glasses.
Well, yeah.
Well, the real question is, did you put some of the rubber nubbins on it so that it doesn't scratch the desk when
No.
you put them down?
No, I
that's a
didn't
good
put rubber
idea.
nubbins on it.
$25 is not bad.
No, it's not bad, and like
That's reading
they
class
work,
price.
and I just like that they're
don't have to
small
get it-
enough to where you're not like having to walk around with a set of reading glasses like a full size.
How come you don't have to have a prescription to get reading glasses? You have to have a prescription
As
to get
they
regular
sell them
glasses?
at London Drugs.
Yeah, it's only a magnifying thing. That's all it's doing.
It's like buying a magnifying glass and looking through it.
Yeah. That's what the 1.5. Oh, thank goodness I'm only a 1.5 strength, whatever, right now, and don't need to be like crazy.
Don't worry.
Tell me they
if you
do
go
more
up,
than just 1.5.
they've got 2 and 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I mean, 1.5 is,
I'm gonna look at this picture a little bit closer. Hang on.
if you're 20/20 normally, like
I want to zoom in. on this
1.5 will
guy.
help you get pretty
Oh
close.
yeah. Oh yeah. Totally not fake.
Is that? Yeah, that's
totally not fake. Oh look at that. Nice.
It's like it's
Not
depth of
only
field
did it-
blurred.
These are they're magic because they present no shadow.
Yeah.
They're like
There's
vampires.
a tiny shadow there.
I don't
It
think
has
so.
nothing
There
to do
is.
with the actual picture, but there's a tiny
Oh,
shadow.
maybe you're
Look around
right.
the case. There's a tiny drop shadow.
I like how the bokeh
And-
is totally like the opposite.
Yeah.
Of
Caution,
that
as your
versus
keys
the-
interpolate with the desk, they may become blurry.
Yeah, the paper that it's on is completely blurry, but don't worry, the ThinOptics
key
logo
fob.
is not.
It's tilt shift.
It's because they're using those glasses to look at them in the picture,
Oh, I see.
so they're much clearer. Yes. I think no. I think those are
that's fake.
photoshopped.
That's fake.
That's definitely fake.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yes.
no, it's definitely
Yeah,
fake.
no, those are photoshopped on there.
See how
They
happy
might not be photoshopped.
see
They
how
might be
happy they look.
paint.netted
It's
on
definitely
there.
fake.
No, that was MS Paint.
Yeah.
Oh, but
and
they do have the case on the back of
they're
their
looking
tablet.
they're looking at this Lenovo phone
This,
right here, the Tango.
this cleverly unbranded iPad mini.
It's and they're really camping too because she's got the metal coffee cup right there. It's probably she made her baked
Put
beans.
the
anyway.
horizon on the wrong side.
If they have the
You're right.
if they have the case on the back of the stupid tablet, why would they Photoshop on the glasses? Because they had to set up the.
You don't think they photoshopped that on the tablet?
Oh, come on. It's not a
Okay.
shoot. It's stock photography.
See how noisy the tablet is, but the case
Yeah,
is not
no, you're
noisy.
right. You're right.
Not noisy.
That's the least
My
egregious.
my
of the
sleuthing is
Photoshops.
done for the day. All right, everybody, that is going to round up our show for the week. We'll be back Next week it'll be December. Actually, I won't. I lied. I won't be here next Wednesday.
Good job.
Shocking.
Okay.
No, wait. No, I will be.
Make up your mind.
You're toying with my emotions.
I won't be here on the 7th. The next one's not. Is that the next one?
Yeah.
I won't be here. I won't be here on the 7th.
Yeah, that's next Wednesday.
Okay, good to know.
Still just a week away.
That's kind of scary. It's kind of scary, actually.
Yeah.
So such is life.
Let's get it over with.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. PCPer.com/podcast is the URL. I would encourage everybody to share it with all their friends and neighbors, so that they can also take advantage of the knowledge that we have.
Just checking the Patreon.
I did. We didn't have any other ones. Just Cody. Just Cody today. Only Cody. Only Cody loved us enough today. That's fine. But thank you to everybody who is already an existing patron. I'm not asking you to increase it if you're not comfortable with it. Don't do that just because of the podcast. We're fine. PCPer.com/podcast, URLs to the videos, the audio, the RSS, all that type of stuff. And that's it. All the information is there, guys. I got nothing else for you. So we'll see you next week, most of us. I'm Ryan Shrout.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
And I'm Alan Malventano.
Did Josh just say walrus? If you enjoyed this content, consider supporting in-depth technical content by contributing at patreon.com/PCPer.